Can Auburn possibly win some awards this year?
There goes Davis. Oh my God! Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of War Eagle Weekly. How are we doing, Josh?
I'm doing.
Well, hey, I for one am excited to talk about some of these awards because I actually think that we're going to have some potential players up for some conference season awards when it's all said and done. But let's go ahead and just quickly jump into this thing, Josh. Starting off, let's give some of our projections. We have no information to back up these projections.
None.
This is
Zero.
just going to be us shooting from the hip. And so let's start off, Josh. Offensive Player of the Year. Who is your pick for the SEC Offensive Player of the Year?
My official pick, and I'm going to stand by this because I've been just praising him all season long. It's going to be Jarquez.
These are projections.
Yes, it's my projection is Jarquez Hunter as the SEC Offensive Player of the Year.
Wow, dude, you are seriously just right out the gate. You're jumping on
Out
the
the
Auburn
gate.
bandwagon. You are booging hard right now.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Auburn, not just the SEC in general.
These are
Okay.
SEC
Jarquez Hunter
awards. Wow. I cannot believe it, man. I really cannot believe it. That is one hell of a season if that's the case. And you know the thing is I was in the opposite boat telling you that I didn't think Jarquez was going to have a higher than 1,000 yards rushing this year. I thought it was going to be more of a passing situation, but everything so far leading into the fall has been this running game is going to be carrying us, and obviously the excitement is on the passing game. But hey, Jarquez Hunter,
yeah.
that's a good pick. I am begrudgingly going to go to the other side of the Iron Bowl rivalry, and my Offensive Player of the Year is actually going to be Jalen Milroe.
Terrible pick. Terrible pick.
Dude, his progression last year, the fact that he progressed to a point to where he was actually a pretty good quarterback there towards the end of the season. And then the fact that now he's going to be playing for DeBoer, who should offensively have Alabama, humming along offensively. So he's going to be my case for Offensive Player of the Year. I can tell that you're very upset with this pick. You absolutely cannot stand Jalen Milroe, but
I would pick Carson Beck over Jalen Milroe. And I'm not that big of a Carson Beck fan either.
I do not like Carson Beck. Surprise, surprise.
I think he was a product of Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers.
Well, hey,
I think.
we have more to say on that subject. We're going to be ranking the quarterbacks that are going to be starting in the SEC in our upcoming video later this week. So be sure to look out for that video because I think we're going to have some fun in that video. But let's stick to the topic of the night right now. Let's go and move on to Defensive Player of the Year. Who do you have for the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, Josh?
Man, I really don't know too many defenders for other SEC teams. I would have to say the defensive end from Tennessee.
Okay.
I can't remember his friggin' name right now, but the dude is a freaking ball. I know he wears number 25. He's a defensive lineman, and he just goes crazy on the football field. So if I had to choose, I would say him.
Okay. And, I wonder when the last time a non-Alabama and a non-Georgia player won Defensive Player of the Year in the SEC. I would venture to say that it's probably been a minute.
James Pierce Jr.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, that's a good pick. I think that's a good pick. I couldn't remember his name either, but I know exactly who you're talking about. I think that's a good pick. It's solid, but I do think you're wrong. I am going with Walter Nolan, who is not at Texas A&M anymore. He is playing for Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. And if if that defense needs anything, it is a disruptor up, on the defensive line. So I think Nolan Walter Nolan is going to just be a wrecking ball. Wrecking ball at Texas A&M.
There's nothing to back this up whatsoever. I just have this feeling that.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about mine. I was like,
no. There's nothing to back my opinion up right here. I just have a feeling that Ole Miss defense is going to put Ole Miss offense in some tough spots this season.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, if that's the case, then my pick for defensive player of the year is definitely not going to be come to fruition. So let's talk about special teams player of the year. Who do you got as your special teams player of the year? This one, I actually had to do some research on this because I didn't want to just pick a kicker.
Well, see, I was going to pick Alex McPherson, but because he's been dealing with issues, I have no clue who I'm going to pick. I'm not even kidding. Like, I have nothing. Like, I know Keontae Scott isn't even being considered for punt returns this season.
No,
he's not on that depth chart. So that would have been a good pick. But to be honest with you, I could not give you a pick on this. I have no clue.
Historically, I think it goes to, kickoff and punt returners. And the one that really stuck out to me was Baron Brown at Kentucky. And I mean, the dude has just put up over 1,000 return yards while here in college ball. So I feel like he is going to be the clear cut, person that should be able to win the award this year. I don't know much more about Kentucky, but I do believe that they're going to be walking away with the special teams player of the year when it's all said and done.
I mean, hey, I have no opinion on that because I just don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about an award that I'm sure you will have an opinion on, and an award that could possibly go to the second Auburn player of the year in freshman of the year. Who's going to win SEC freshman of the year? Let's be honest with ourselves, and let's not just choose this person because we're Auburn fans. But on the count of three, let's say it together so we can wish this into existence. 1, 2, 3.
Cam Coleman.
Yeah.
And I have a reason for that. It's because he's going to have the most snaps out of any freshman in the SEC this year. He will have the most opportunity to make that award a reality for himself because he's going to have so much time on the field because he's needed on the field.
Yeah. No. By the end of his freshman year, it will be called the Cam Coleman Freshman of the Year Award from now on. That's just what kind of impact this guy is going to have on.
He's going to have a big impact,
not just Auburn. It's going to be a big impact on the SEC. Nobody is ready for this kid, and I can't wait to see it.
I'm here for it, man. I love it.
So, now let's go ahead and talk about best offensive lineman, the one that everyone has been waiting to hear our opinions on. Who's going to win best offensive lineman in the SEC? I think there's a clear-cut choice. I think he's the best offensive tackle or offensive lineman in the entire country. But I want to hear your opinion first because I don't think you have the same person.
I don't think so either because I don't know names of anyone other than on Auburn's team because I don't care about anyone else's team on the offensive line. But I do know there are 2 offensive linemen on Auburn's team that could very well be in the mix for it, and that's Percy Lewis and Connor Lew. Other than that, I don't really have an actual pick for you because I don't want to sound too big of a homer.
That's fair, and I have definitely accused you of being a huge homer, and you continue to book way too much on too many topics. So I can appreciate you showing some restraint here, and I commend you on showing some restraint here. But for me, it's going to be Will Campbell from LSU. Guy has been a staple on that offensive line since he got there on campus. He is going to be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft this year. He is the best offensive lineman in the entire country. It's not even close. So definitely Will Campbell, in my opinion. Now, let's talk about, again, to our viewers, this man bugs so hard. I can tell you right now, his candidate for Coach of the Year is none other than
Hugh Freeze.
Yeah,
it's going to be Hugh Freeze.
I want it to be.
No, he has the biggest opportunity. He has the biggest opportunity to make the biggest jump in year 2. Auburn was 3 or 4 plays away last year from being a 9-win team. And he has way more talent this year than he did last year. And a lot of teams from last year have regressed in talent, most notably Georgia. So, I mean, it's not going to be Kalen DeBoer. I think he's going to have one of the most mediocre seasons as a year 1 head coach in the history of the SEC. It's probably going to be around the same as Hugh Freeze had last year. Some games that he should have won that he didn't. Some games that he lost that he shouldn't have. But Hugh Freeze has easily the clearest path to making the biggest jump in year 2 as a head coach in the SEC. And he's got to be on the short list for SEC Coach of the Year.
I think he'll be on the short list, and you talked about him having the most opportunity. I don't think that's correct. I don't think it is Hugh Freeze with the most opportunity. I think the most opportunity goes to our least favorite coach in the SEC right now, Lane Kiffin, because Alabama is no longer in his way. Now, yes, he does have to play Georgia, and yes, he does have to play Texas this year, so he has a hell of a road to get there. But if he can pull that off, I think he's going to be the clear choice winner for Coach of the Year. And he has always screwed up. He has always screwed up against Alabama, and Nick Saban is not in his way this year.
That's true. I mean, there's a lot of coaches out there that have the opportunity to make that award a reality. But I would also is it Brett Venables, the head coach of Oklahoma? Is that I would say that he could potentially be SEC Coach of the Year if he pulls off some upsets this season, the first year in the SEC for Oklahoma. So I would also say Brett Venables could be on the short list as well.
Wow. Well, and with that shocking revelation from Josh and his anti-Homer agenda, War Eagle Josh.
War Eagle Kevin.